Look how fast we're going. Man. Hello viewers, welcome to Keith's Auto and Truck Repair. Today we have a 2013 Freightliner Sprinter with a 3.0 liter engine. The customer complaint on this Sprinter is the vehicle is losing power tremendously. This vehicle won't go over 40 miles an hour. The owner of this vehicle is one of our subscribers here on our YouTube channel. His name is Suleiman. Actually, Suleiman is one of my old-time customers. He used to come to the Kaliva shop where I used to work, and he's been bringing his van to me for years now. He lives in Delaware, so this vehicle quit over there in Delaware. He had to have the vehicle towed to our shop. So here we are. Let's figure out why this vehicle is losing power. The first thing we're gonna do is let's go in the vehicle and start the engine, and then I'm going to connect the scan tool to the vehicle so we can see what codes we have, and then we will go from there. But before we do that, I'm gonna give a shout out to cameraman Matt. Cameraman Matt, thanks for being here. So now let's go in the vehicle. So now I'm gonna start the engine. Let's confirm the customer's complaint. There is a message on the dash that says start 50, okay. And then this vehicle has 312,000 miles, 954. Let me start the engine. Okay, so as you can hear, the engine is running. Actually, the check engine light is off, but the DEF fluid light is on. You see this light over here? Can you see that light, Matt? Yeah, so check engine light is not on. Interesting. Okay, so that's customer's complaint confirmed. I'm gonna turn off the engine. Let's turn the key on. Let's get the scan tool connected. All right, I got the scan tool connected to the vehicle. Let's scan it and see what we got. Now this is a Freightliner. It's a 2013. I'm gonna have to scan it as a Mercedes. 2013, actually. No, we're gonna scan it as a 2014. 2014 Mercedes. Let's see what we got. Cameraman Matt, another Sprinter. You're gonna be a Sprinter specialist here very soon. Okay, so the scan tool has identified the vehicle. It's being read as a Mercedes, although it says Freightliner here, but it's the same thing. So let's do a code scan. We have a bunch of trouble codes in the engine computer. We have 9 trouble codes in the engine computer. Okay, we have some after treatment trouble codes in the engine computer. First code is 19DE00H/1695232. It says refer to OEM repair information for code description. Interesting. And then the second one is P186A00. What was that? Interesting. There's a noise over here. So second code says the exhaust after treatment system has a malfunction due to a detected manipulation. Really? Okay, something was manipulated or tampered with, I don't know. We gotta figure that out. And then the third code is P16CE00. It says the AdBlue system has not yet been tested. The frequency counter possible engine start is active. And then the fourth one says the AdBlue system has not yet been tested. Okay, so this is the same one. Engine start is not possible. And then the last one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the sixth code is P177800. It says CAN communication with control unit A97/1, control unit of NOx sensor upstream of the SCR catalytic converter has a malfunction. Okay, now all these codes can be caused by a defective NOx sensor. So we have a fault in the after treatment system. Okay, The after treatment system is a system that reduces the amount of NOx that comes out of the exhaust tailpipe. So we could have a bad NOx sensor, we could have a bad DEF pump in the DEF tank, we could have a bad heater sensor in the tank, we could have a broken line between the DEF injector and the pump. So now what I want to do is I have all these trouble codes saved in the scan tool. Okay, so I'm gonna scroll down. Let's see what else we have. Now we're gonna focus on the codes that we have in the engine computer. I will let the customer know about the other codes, and then if he wants us to fix the other codes, we can take care of them as well. So I'm going to back out. Actually, let's go into the engine computer. I want to look at some after treatment data PIDs. Okay, so NOx sensor upstream of the SCR and the NOx sensor downstream of the SCR. So I'm going to graph these two NOx sensors. Now we don't have a low boost code. He told me the van was losing power. So let's see. I know sometimes the engine computer can cause the vehicle to go in limp mode if there is a fault in the after treatment system. So now let's take this on a test drive. Let me start the engine. Let's drive this around and see what happens. So right now both our NOx sensors are showing 0, 0. So when we drive and the exhaust gets hot and the NOx sensors get hot, when they start working, we should have values. These NOx sensors should start reading the amount of NOx that's before the SCR and after the SCR. So the one before the SCR should have higher numbers, and the one after the SCR should have lower NOx, because the SCR should be able to break down those NOx. And that's how you can tell if your SCR is working well too. Because for example, if you have 100 parts per million of NOx in front of the SCR, you should have about 10 or 15 parts per million of NOx after the SCR, because the number before should be higher. Now, oops, I'm gonna put this over here. Cameraman Matt will put that on the screen. Let's take this for a spin and see what happens. Oh, oh, this thing's got no power. I'm stepping on the accelerator pedal all the way. What the freak? It's not even building boost. Hold on. Watch. Actually, let me power brake it. I'm gonna step on the brake. Okay. Let me show you the gear first. Look at the shifter. Yeah, so we are in drive. So I'm stepping on the brake pedal. Now I'm gonna step on the accelerator pedal. We're gonna power brake this. Okay, hold on. Let me look at our boost. This thing's not building enough boost. Watch. We're building, the maximum boost we built was 1.8 psi. That's lower than normal. And then the other thing that I noticed is the boost pressure positioner is only going up to 9.5%. It should go up to 100 or 90%. All right, so let me look at the boost pressure first. I don't think we're gonna be able to drive this thing on the road. This is as fast as it's gonna go. Matt, you wanna go get stranded somewhere? Dude, look. I'm stepping all the way down on the accelerator pedal. Jeez. Oh my goodness. I can actually run faster than this Sprinter. And then, look over here, Matt. Whoa, this is bad, very bad. Can you show the front of the van so that people, so that our viewers can see how fast we're going? I'm flooring the accelerator pedal right now, and our boost pressure is, you guys will see this on the screen. Our boost pressure is at 1.05 psi. Wow. Now I see why. So I'm flooring the accelerator pedal, and our engine RPMs is 783. So basically idle speed. Is this thing seeing the accelerator pedal input? Huh. All right, back to the shop. Are we gonna be able to make it? What the freak?
You told me your foot's on the pedal right now?
It is right here, dude. I'm flooring this. Look, I'm flooring it. I'm flooring it. I'm flooring it. Like, you can literally walk faster than this car. Look how fast we're going. Man. This is really bad. Alrighty. Wow. We could have, based on how it's losing power, it's like dead, no power at all. We could have a bad actuator on the turbo that's not opening the vanes in the turbo, although we have a knock sensor code. But a knock sensor would not cause the van to really lose power like that. I don't think so. I know if there's a problem in the after treatment system, it's going to cause the engine to lose power, but not this bad. So let me go to our DPF. Let's see how much soot we have in the DPF, because we could have a restricted DPF also. That can cause that. So soot content of diesel particulate filter is 0 grams. Okay, so we don't have a plugged DPF. Actually, let me start the engine. Let's graph the pressure differential sensor. I'm gonna rev up the engine. The pressure differential went up to 3 psi. Now the pressure differential sensor is a sensor that measures the pressure difference between the inlet of the DPF and the outlet of the DPF. So a good number is about 1 psi on a good exhaust system. If you go over 1 psi, that's usually an indication of a problem. Right now, when we rev up the engine, we're going up to 3 psi. So this DPF could be clogged too. All right. And then the other thing I would like to look at. So the engine is revving up, which means our accelerator pedal position sensor is working, and it's telling the engine computer to increase the injector pulse. Okay. So here's what I'm gonna do. Let's stay low tech first. Let's go under the hood. Let's check the turbo actuator, and then I also want to smoke the induction system to see if we have a leak somewhere. Although we don't have a boost leak, I would like to check that. And then I'm also gonna check the DPF. We're gonna use our pressure gauge to check the pressure difference between the inlet of the DPF and the outlet of the DPF, to see what we're gonna find. So I'm gonna turn off the engine. I'm gonna turn the key on. Actually, let me clear all the codes out of the engine computer, and then let's see which code comes back first. Let me clear all these codes. So key is on. We cleared the codes. Let's read the codes. Okay, so the the after treatment codes keep coming back. Okay. All right. Cool. So let's go check some stuff under the hood first, and then we're gonna check the, was it the first or second knock sensor? It was the knock sensor upstream of the SCR. All right, so let's go under the hood. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is let's check the turbo actuator. I wanna make sure that the actuator is working. We're gonna activate it with our scan tool. I switched to the Autel scan tool. The Autel scan tool works better when it comes to bidirectional. All right, so while the scan tool is scanning all these control units, I'm gonna pop up the air filter box. Let's pop this out of the way. Nice. Okay, so you guys have seen me do this. We're gonna watch the lever on the actuator. So you're gonna focus on that lever there. So let's go into the engine computer. Okay, we're gonna go to active test. We're gonna turn on the boost regulator. So when I turn this on with the scan tool, the lever on the actuator should move. Nothing? Nothing? It's not moving?
Nope.
That's odd. Okay, so the positioner shows 90%. It's not. Nothing is happening. So actually, I'm gonna cycle the key on and off in the van. I want you to focus on that actuator, Matt, because I know on some of these, when you cycle the key on and off, the actuator moves. So let's watch it and see what happens. Nothing? It's not moving? Watch out, I'm gonna start the engine. Did it move? Yeah? It's not moving?
I know, I'm saying it's not moving right. It's like moving weird.
What do you mean by moving weird? Okay.
It's working.
Is it working?
Yeah, when it gasses up, it works. I'm gonna gas it up.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Rev it. Rev it. Go all the way. Okay, turn it off. Turn it off. This thing doesn't sound good. Do you hear that noise, that clicking noise? Start it again. Rev it. All right, turn it off. Yeah, Matt, you're right. It's like moving. It's like a little slow, you know. It feels like it's binding a little bit. Yeah, you were right, Matt. Okay, yeah, turn it off. Turn the key off. Let me get on this side, Matt. Let me disconnect. Let me remove this air filter box. Robin, you can come here. Yeah, this is not good. This is not good. I mean, this. I wonder if this turbo is even putting out any boost pressure. It feels like it's not putting out boost pressure. Let me check the impeller. Yeah, there's play on the turbo. Feel that.
The turbo is turning.
No, like up and down.
Up and down? Yeah, there's a little bit play there. There's a little bit of play there.
Yeah, okay. Very interesting. Now, the fact that the actuator was going up and down, that means the wiring is good. But this thing is not building pressure. Okay, now here's the next thing we're gonna do. Next thing is I'm gonna bring out our smoke machine. Let's smoke the induction system to see if we have a boost leak. I don't think we do, because there wasn't a boost leak code. We're just gonna smoke it to double check, and then we're gonna check the DPF to see if it's restricted, and then we'll go from there. So I'll bring out the smoke machine, and then I'll bring you guys back up. All right guys, so now let's use our smoke machine to send smoke down the induction system. I didn't like how the actuator arm is going up and down. It feels like it's binding, and knowing that this vehicle has over 300,000 miles and this turbo looks like an original turbo, there's a little bit of play on the turbo impeller shaft. You know, I'm gonna have to recommend replacing this turbo, because if there's no leaks around the induction system and we're not building boost, this turbo's gotta go. Okay, we could replace the actuator just to see what's gonna happen, but I think I'm gonna lean towards replacing the turbo. So let's put this bladder here. You guys have seen me. Is it leaking?
Uh-oh.
What? What happened to my bladder? Oh. Because this is it's just, it's rubber. I thought it got punctured. It's very sensitive. All right. So now we're gonna turn on our smoke machine. We've done this countless times here on our YouTube channel. So we got smoke coming out of this tube. I'm gonna plug this to the bladder. So smoke is gonna go down this tube and into the turbo and out. Yeah, let's see. Now, usually when you have a boost leak, you would hear it, and you would have a low boost code, which we didn't have. So I doubt that we have a boost leak, but we gotta check. We do not assume, we test. Okay, I don't see smoke leaking out of anywhere here. I don't see smoke down here, although there's a lot of oil under the van, but looks like the charger cooler is not leaking. All right. Let's see, let's make sure we still have smoke coming out. Yeah. I see some smoke here leaking from the dipstick. Okay, smoke coming from the dipstick is normal because we have the PCV tube connected here, so that's not a problem. Okay, we have a little bit of a leak here around the oil filler cap. So let's not be distracted by that. So we don't have a leak on the turbo outlet. Our charger cooler tubes are not leaking. All right. Okay, cool. So let's switch gears a little bit. I'm gonna turn this off. I'm gonna get my smoke machine out of the way. Based on what I see, we don't have a vacuum leak. I mean, not vacuum leak. This is not a, it's not a gas engine. We don't have a boost leak on the induction system. So now I am going to disconnect. Matt, if you can come and show these tubes over here. Okay, so these two tubes are coming from the DPF. Okay, this one is in front of the DPF, and then the other one is behind the DPF. So I'm gonna disconnect these tubes. We're gonna connect a pressure gauge to this tube. Then we're gonna start the engine and rev it to see if we have a restriction in front of the DPF. So I'm gonna get that set up, and then I'll bring you guys back up. All right, guys, I put the air filter box here off camera. So now we're gonna check our DPF. So I got the DPF hoses disconnected. Okay, so I believe the big one is the one in front of the DPF and the small one is the one after the DPF. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use this gauge. Okay, so I'm gonna connect it to this tube. So I'm gonna connect this tube that goes to the gauge. We're gonna connect it over here. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna start the engine. When I start the engine, I'm gonna rev it up. So our pressure should not go over 1 psi. If the pressure in front of the DPF goes over 1 psi, that will mean that the DPF is clogged. So cameraman Matt is gonna focus on the gauge. I'm gonna rev up the engine. Did it move? How high did it go? How high is it going? 4 psi. 4 psi?
Just almost 4 psi.
Oh, that's high. Let me do it again. So cameraman Matt, what did you say?
4 psi.
It's going up to 4 psi?
Yeah.
That's not good. That means that DPF is restricted. Okay, so I don't think cleaning it will fix it. We're gonna have to replace that DPF. Now, there's one more thing I wanna do. I wanna, just to check and double check, I wanna connect our pressure gauge to the other tube, which is after the DPF, to see if our pressure is gonna be high after the DPF as well. If our pressure is high after the DPF, that might mean that the SCR is clogged, okay? So now I'm going to disconnect this. It's dark here, so I hope you guys can see. Now we're gonna connect it to the to the small tube, okay, that goes after the DPF. Now, right now I'm gonna start the engine. Matt is gonna focus on the gauge. We're gonna rev it up. If our gauge doesn't move, or if it barely moves, that will mean the restriction is in front of the DPF, not after the DPF. So let's do it again. All right, I'm gonna start the engine. I'm gonna rev it up. All right, so the fact that our pressure is only in front of the DPF, that means it's clogged, so there's no pressure on the back of the DPF. Bad news. So cameraman Matt, what do you think is the problem? Bad DPF? Clogged DPF? All right, so this DPF, I don't think cleaning this would help. I mean, we can try cleaning it. I'm gonna give the customer the option of using DPF cleaner to see if we can bring it back to life. I don't think so. That DPF looks original and the vehicle has over 300,000 miles. So this DPF has never been changed. So we're gonna have to change it, okay? Now, the other thing I wanna check before we're done, because at this point I'll call the customer, let the customer know, and then we're gonna make an estimate. I want to check the knock sensor before the SCR because we had the code for the upstream knock sensor. I'm going to check the wiring of it. If the wiring is good, then we're going to go ahead and change the sensor. 95% of the time, the issue ends up being the sensor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the sensor wiring back probed, and then I'll bring you guys back up so I can show you the wires that are back probe. and then we will look at the signals on the scope. If the wiring is good, I'm going to recommend replacing the sensor too. So I'm going to get that back probed, and then I'll bring you guys back up. We are here under the vehicle. This is our upstream knock sensor. Actually, this sensor looks clean. It looks like it was replaced not too long ago. I'm going to show you the connection that I made here. So this is the electrical connector of the knock sensor, and this is its little computer. I'm back probing all the wires at the knock sensor. So now let's go in the vehicle so we can see what voltages we're gonna have on the lab scope screen. All right, we are back in the vehicle. This is the last test we're gonna do before we call the customer. So we're gonna go to our scope multimeter. I have my test leads here. These test leads are coming from the knock sensor electrical connector. We're gonna use all our 4 channels. I'm going to drop our voltages down to 20 volts. Okay, and then I'm going to lower these guys. Okay, so right now we have minus 0.01 on the yellow trace, 0.02 on the green trace, 0.01 on the blue trace, and minus 0.01 on the red trace. I'm going to turn the key on. Okay, so the green trace and the yellow trace are our communication waveform, and then the blue trace is the power supply wire to the knock sensor, and then the red trace is our sensor ground. So the wiring, based on what I see on the scan tool, this tells me that the wiring of the sensor is good. Okay, our communication is fine. I'm going to start the engine. Yeah, so the sensor is getting power, it's getting ground, it's getting, the communication is there. So this is a bad sensor. This knock sensor is bad. All right, I'm going to turn off the engine. We are done. Okay, this tells me that the wiring of the sensor is good, because this communication comes from the DEF control unit, and this power and ground that goes to the sensor also comes from the exhaust, the after treatment control unit. So, and then if we go back to, let's look at the codes. What code did we have? We have a code for the upstream knock sensor. The code that I was looking for is P177800. It says CAN communication with control unit A97/1, control unit of knock sensor upstream of SCR converter has a malfunction. So it's the upstream knock sensor that's not communicating. We checked the wiring, it's getting good power and good ground. Communication is there, so that sensor needs to be replaced. And when you replace the sensor, it comes with a new sensor control unit. So at this point, we are done. So now what I'm going to do is, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to recommend replacing the DPF, replacing the knock sensor, and then after we replace those components, then we're going to do another test drive and see what happens. Because here's what I believe is happening. Since the DPF is clogged, it's creating a restriction in the exhaust stream. Since the exhaust is restricted, that's why this vehicle is losing power. Because if the exhaust, when the exhaust is restricted, the engine is not going to be able to inhale some fresh air, which will cause it to lose power. So we might have to, we're going to have to check we're going to have to replace the DPF first and then test drive the van and check for boost. Because the turbo is not going to work properly if there's a restriction in the exhaust system. So the restriction in the exhaust system is going to affect a lot of components and a lot of systems, okay? So, because the turbo is not going to be able to spin fast enough to create more boost for the engine if there is a restriction on the exhaust system. So now let's call the customer, because the owner of this vehicle is a good friend of mine. Like I said earlier, his name is Suleiman. He's a subscriber. He found me about, I think, 3 years ago or 4 years ago, and he used to come to the Kaleva shop where I used to work, and we remained friends over the years, and he's a good guy. He lives in Delaware, so it's a long drive for him to come here. So let's call Suleiman. I'm going to tell him what we're going to do, and then we'll go from there. Now, he might still need a turbo though. We might still have to replace the turbo, but we got to replace the DPF first. Let's see if he's going to pick up.
Hello, Dio.
Suleiman, how you doing?
I'm doing great, brother. How are you doing?
Oh, I can't complain, brother. It's good. It's hot over here, but you know. So like I told you last week, I said I'm gonna work on your Sprinter on Monday. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm working on your Sprinter, and we're filming the whole diagnosis process.
Oh,
so you will see what we found, and I'm actually recording this conversation. So if you don't mind your voice being on YouTube, I just want to let you know, because if you don't, then we can cut this out and we're not going to show this.
You're good, man. That business is ours, man. We have to develop it.
Yes, we got to grow this. Cameraman Matt is just smiling behind the camera.
Oh, perfect. That sounds great.
I was telling him the owner of this car is my friend, he's my brother, so we got to take care of this.
Yep.
So here's what I found. First, I started the van. The check engine light was not on, which was interesting. Just the DEF light was on the dash.
Okay.
So I took it for a spin. I said, let me go on a test drive. I went up the road. Man, I couldn't even go over 10 miles an hour. This thing is losing power tremendously. I can literally run faster than the van. I was flooring it. I floored it. I put it on drive. It won't go anywhere. So we turned around and drove back to the shop and we scanned it. So when we did it, actually we did a scan before we went on a test drive. There were codes about the DEF system.
Okay.
There was a code about the knock sensor before the SCR, and then there were some OEM codes. Now, that knock sensor can also, if you have a bad knock sensor or a fault in the after treatment system, that can cause the van to lose power. So it's going to go in limp mode.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I got back, I actually checked the wires of the sensor to see if there's a wiring problem, but the wires are good, so we don't have a wiring issue. So that sensor is going bad. We're going to have to change that knock sensor. There's another problem, because I also checked the induction system to see if there was a leak somewhere, like a boost leak. I checked the induction system, there was no boost leaks. And then I also checked the DPF to see, because usually when you have a bad knock sensor, it's not going to cause the car to go in a limp mode, because this kind of limp mode is very severe. Like, it's usually when I have knock sensor issues here, when I have vans that have knock sensor issues, the van might lose power, but you can still drive it. You still go around like 30 miles an hour. You can still go around 30 miles an hour, but this one I was like, no, something else has got to be wrong here. So let me do some more tests. So then I checked the DPF. Then I realized that the DPF is clogged. So that is basically what's causing it to lose power. And although there's a sensor problem, but the DPF is completely clogged, because I put a pressure gauge on the tube that goes in front of the DPF. When you rev up the engine, the pressure goes all the way up to about 4 psi. So which indicates a clogged DPF. Now, the other thing I checked, I also wanted to check the actuator on the turbo. The actuator on the turbo is not, opening and closing smoothly. It feels like it's opening erratically, but since we have a restriction in the DPF, that can cause the turbo to not work properly. So
Okay.
what I'm gonna recommend is we gotta change the DPF and change the sensor. And once we change the DPF and the sensor, then we're gonna test drive the van and see what happens. And then at that point, we can see if the turbo is working well or not. Because as long as there's a restriction in the exhaust system, the engine is not gonna be, I mean, the turbo is not gonna be able to create boost for the engine to run properly. And we're not gonna have enough air. The engine is not gonna inhale enough air to go to the cylinders, which will cause the engine to work properly. So we gotta take care of the restriction we have on the exhaust system first.
Okay. So the since the last time that DPF tank was changed by the dealership.
Yes. Well, so there's what they changed was the DEF. That's the tank. That's the tank for the diesel exhaust fluid. But
Yes,
what?
the tank, yes.
Yeah, that's the tank. But what I'm talking about is the DPF. So the diesel particulate filter, the filter on the exhaust system. Yeah, those are two different components.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yes. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna make an estimate. I'll call my supplier. I have a DPF supplier. I'll call my supplier and see if they have these DPFs in stock. We're gonna have to replace it. And I mean, if it was just clogged a little bit, we could have cleaned it. I don't know if you've seen my video about where I'm like cleaning the DPF.
I saw that. Yeah,
yes.
That is just what I wanted to ask.
Yes. But the thing is, this one is pretty clogged. I mean, I can try it. I'm not gonna guarantee anything. But based on how clogged it is, that's just gonna be a waste of money, to be honest. Because if we use that DPF cleaner, we can, fingers crossed, it may or may not work. If it works, that's fine. But if it doesn't, then you just lose some money, and then we're gonna have to change it. Usually if there's just a little bit of restriction if there's just a little bit of soot or hash in the DPF, it works. But if there's a lot, even if you clean it, it's not gonna clean all of it.
Yeah, before I took this vehicle to you, if you could remember, I explained one time they took off the DPF, DPF, and then I took it to, there's a place in New Jersey where they clean. I took it there and they cleaned the entire
DPF. Okay.
Yes, they clean it, and then I brought it back and they fix it. Because initially they thought that was the reason why the vehicle was in a limp mode. But we noticed, after every diagnosis and everything, and I decided to bring it to you after the cleaning has been done. So I don't know, because it's like it's getting into it's a little over a year now. Maybe for some reason it gets clogged again, and
so
I don't know if that is possible.
So what you're saying is the DPF was cleaned already, like about a year ago.
It was cleaned.
Okay.
It was cleaned. It was taken out, and I am the one who even took it to the DPF cleaners.
Okay.
And they clean it.
Okay.
And I took it back. I brought it, and the guy who was helping me, working on the van, it didn't work. And I had to take it to you.
Okay.
When you were
you see what this guy does? He takes his van somewhere else, they ruin it, and then he brings it to me after the issue gets hard.
No, that was before even I discover you. Before even I know about you.
Oh, okay.
That was the frustration I had. I explained everything to you. If you check your email, it was there.
Okay.
I even explained everything in the email. Before even I know you and even brought the van to you.
Okay.
That was long ago.
Okay. So here's what I'm gonna recommend. And there's one very important piece that I need to mention. Because so since the DPF was cleaned, usually when they clean these DPFs, some companies do a better job than others. Some companies out there, when they clean them, they don't clean them as well. So you still have enough soot left in the DPF, and then after you install it, then it gets filled back up. Now the other thing is there might be an underlying issue that's causing the DPF to clog. So we have to replace the DPF first, and then I'm gonna do some tests. I gotta make sure the injectors are spraying properly, everything is good, the engine is not misfiring. We have to make sure that we don't have another issue, because if there's a problem that's causing the DPF to clog or the engine to create more soot than normal, even if we change 10 DPFs, they're gonna keep clogging up. So yeah, so we gotta change it first, and then I gotta do more tests around the engine to make sure that the engine is running efficiently and properly, and then you can pick it up, because we're not just gonna change the DPF and then let it go, because if there's something else going on, you're gonna be back here 2 or 3 months, you know, later.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's do that, because you know, like I said, I'm really drowning here.
Yeah. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna call my supplier and make sure they have it, and then I'll send you an estimate for the knock sensor and the DPF. Let's start there first.
Okay.
Because although I didn't like the way the turbo actuator is working, you might need a turbo actuator. But since we have a clogged DPF, I'm not gonna quote you that one yet. Let's get rid of the DPF first and the knock sensor, and then we're gonna test drive it and see what happens.
Okay. Regarding the knock sensor,
Yes.
we have one that we bought the last time that I don't know if that is the one. The one I think this is after the DPF.
After they did the DEF at the dealer. I remember that the dealer had to do the DEF. Yes. Do they?
Yeah, no.
Do you still have that sensor?
Yes, I still have it. Is that the one that we have to change?
I think I believe, I don't know. Can you take a picture, because that one was the OEM one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You are the one who bought it.
Yes, I remember. So take a picture on the box. I want to see the part number.
Okay.
Take a picture on the box and send it to me, and then I'll check if it's the one that we need. If that's the one, then you can just bring it to me. I will install it.
Oh, perfect, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that right away.
Yeah, then that's gonna save you some money right there. Okay,
Man,
cool.
You don't understand.
All right. Well, I'll do everything I can to get you back on the road as soon as I can on this one.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for calling.
Okay, you're welcome, bro. So let me get the estimate ready, and then I'll send it to you.
Absolutely.
All right,
I'll
sounds
send
good.
you the picture.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, you heard the conversation. Actually, last year, what happened with this is, I remember when he first brought this van to me, there was, what was it? Something had to be done by the dealer. I think it was the after treatment control unit needed to be programmed or relearned or something. So they sent it. So I told him I couldn't do it. So we had to take it to the dealer because I don't have the equipment to do programming. Then the tow truck driver that picked up the van punctured the DEF tank. So then the warranty, he had to go back and forth with the tow truck company, and then the tow truck company paid the dealer to replace the DEF tank. So the dealer did it, and that was fine. And then he had bought a knock sensor, which we couldn't return. So I told him to just keep it. I said, hey, keep that knock sensor, and he got it from the dealer. I told him, keep it. You might end up using it in the future. So he's going to send me the part number of that sensor, because it looks like he has it at his house. If it's the same part number as the sensor that we need, because this vehicle has 2 knock sensors, one before the SCR and then the other one after the SCR. So if it's the one we need, he's going to bring it to us, then we're going to install it. And then at that point, I'm just going to quote him for a new DPF. So I'm going to leave this right over here. There will be part 2 of this video. I don't think we're going to film the DPF replacement. We'll figure it out. No, we did a knock sensor. Matt is like, we've done it before. We replaced the knock sensor on remember I think it was a black Sprinter we did a while back. We replaced the knock sensor. We filmed it. We had to use a torch, remember, to remove that knock sensor. Matt is laughing behind the camera. You're gonna be a Sprinter specialist here soon, Matt. You don't like Sprinters? Come on, man. They're good vans. Anyways, yeah, so I don't know. I'll have to talk to Kyler and see if we can do the DPF replacement. I don't think we have a video about that, so we might have to do it. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Maybe we'll do it, maybe we won't. So we shall see. So I'm gonna quote him a DPF. We're gonna replace the DPF first, like I said to Suleiman. He might need a turbo. He might need a turbo actuator, but let's replace the DPF first and the knock sensor and see what happens. So be on the lookout for part 2. I hope you like the video. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumb down. But if you do, tell us why so we can make better videos in the future. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have any comments, questions, criticism, leave them in the comment box. Cameraman Matt, thanks for being here, buddy. See you guys next time.